We are thrilled to be here with Harry and Yewande, who are members of the 630 congregation. Recently got married. It was like 3 months ago you got married?
Yeah, September, so very fresh.
Amazing. Wonderful wedding. And you're both doctors. Just say a little bit about what areas you operate in.
So I'm a hospital doctor. I work in a hospital in West London as a medical and rheumatology registrar.
I work in a GP surgery in central London, so that's where I'm based.
And you're both on the front line in different ways. You've been on the COVID wards, haven't you, Harry?
Yeah, so only in rheumatology, we're based mainly in clinic, but we go to the wards, see patients as well. But during the pandemic, it's been all change really. So on COVID wards and the on-calls, so the nights, the weekends, admitting COVID patients.
Very stressful, I would have thought.
And you two have had to negotiate your engagement during a time of the pandemic when you're on the front line. How did you manage that time?
Were you engaged at the start of the pandemic, or did you get engaged once the pandemic started? You were already engaged.
Yes, we were already engaged by the time the pandemic hit.
I lived with my mother at the time, my mum and dad at the time, and it was really tricky because Harry was working on the wards, and I was also still seeing face-to-face patients. And then when I saw Harry, we would be in the park and be 2 meters apart, and we couldn't even hold hands really. So it was really, really challenging. But we just thank God for his provision. He really helped us through, and actually our relationship grew so much in that time. And we still managed to go to the marriage preparation course as well.
Yes.
And they ran the course amazingly. We still were able to grow as a couple in this time. So we just thank God for that.
We watched your video of the wedding today, and your faith sort of permeates through it, and the faith of your parents.
It was a very, very unique and special time. I definitely felt so close to God during the run-up to our wedding and during our wedding. His hand was there with us throughout everything.
And what difference has your faith made through all this?
I think I've just become more aware of God's provision, really. I think sometimes modern living can make you almost become complacent because things run perfectly fine, and you don't always have to think of how God is really in control of everything and he's making everything possible. But during this pandemic, I've really been humbled to know that I can't do anything without God. And in my role as doctor, I have to rely on God every single day.
I'd say that God's really kept the hope within me that it's not going to be like this forever. It's obviously difficult when we have to say goodbye to loved ones. And I guess just knowing that God has a plan for all of us, there is a reason for everything. That is bigger than any of our understanding. That's something to, I guess, keep in perspective during these difficult times.
I mean, there are so many, there'll be loads of people watching today who are struggling in all sorts of areas. How would you say, what would your advice be if somebody's worried, anxious, or sick, not well? Have you got advice for them today that would encourage them?
So my advice would be that they're not alone. I think sometimes when you are feeling very low, anxious, there's a tendency to feel like you're alone. But I would say that they should try to find if there's anyone in their circle of friends or family that they can speak to. And if not, they can also speak to their GP because there are preventing services out there where you can have somebody speak to you on a regular basis, not staying alone really. Seeking help.
There are so many people still having physical medical problems as well as mental health problems as well during this time, and you still need to take care of your health, your mental and physical health.
What could we pray? What advice would you give people to pray in this season for the NHS or for anything that you think we should pray about?
Frontline workers. What are the things we should be praying for you all?
So for frontline workers, pray for energy to keep going. We've been doing this coming up to about almost a year now. And yeah, it takes its toll. So energy to keep going, energy to keep compassionate, not to just treat people as numbers, but as people who they are. To really pray that the right decisions are made from the very top. So people in power to government, and also to those in need. So the pandemic has obviously had so many impacts in different spheres of life. There's more unemployment because of it. Children and their education. I think these are all people who need prayer. So really, I would say target prayer to those people. And also, like I said, there is an end to this. So pray for that and pray for that to come soon.
Thank you. Well, I mean, we're inspired by you. So blessed that you're doing what God has called you to do.
Yeah.
And it must be a comfort for somebody to know that if they did end up in hospital, they might have you, Harry, looking after them. Or
if they need their GP, they might get you.
Yes, a comforting voice that will help them and reassure people at this very difficult time. So we just salute you in every possible way. And we pray.
Thank you.